together, and we can work together. We can use our quality time and to improve together. Instead
Okay,
of
like
sitting around
exercise
watching
together.
TV, we can
Okay.
go for a walk.
Okay, and it not only helps you, but it also helps them. Okay, that's a great news story. What else? What would be another example?
Not perpetuating the stories that you have into something else.
Okay.
You know, not if you choose not to exercise because you think, well, it's not worth it. You know, it's not worth exercising because I'm not gonna change. Don't give that story to the next generation
Okay,
of
so
people.
don't
Say
give it
that-
more life.
Exactly, don't give it
So,
more life.
so take away its energy in a sense. And that is a first step to then perhaps changing it within yourself. So
Exactly.
you might say, well, actually, I learned how to do some exercise sessions in really small bouts, and I was told that I can do them in 10-minute sessions.
Exactly.
And if I do 10 minutes of exercise, I'm actually nicer and actually have more energy when I'm with the people I love. It makes me better to be around. So that could be another angle on that same old story to make it a better story to allow
Right.
you to engage in those behaviors. And so the idea here is for whatever it is that you need to change and you have an old story, you've got to poke holes in the story and then create a new possibility that would allow you to engage in a new behavior.
Well, and the one about the, eating all the food on your plate.
Mhm.
Maybe when you go into the restaurant, say, just bring me half of the dinner, box up the other half, and I'll take it home. So
Right.
you don't see it, therefore you are kind of following the old story about finish everything, but there's not as much.
It's a transitional
There,
phase, I would
exactly.
say, because it hasn't changed the old story.
Right, right.
So it's at some point, and I want to make sure that everyone understands that in order to change behavior, at some point you've got to change your thoughts and your mindset. If not, it becomes a short-term change. So it's a good start.
Mhm.
It makes it easier, right? But at some point you have to say, does it really help other kids starving in other countries when I finish my entire meal? Does that make sense? Right, but we're not kids, and we have our own ways of thinking, and we can certainly rationalize that differently, right?
Sure.
So I want to encourage you to challenge your thinking in addition to changing some of the things that you actually behave in, so that we get permanent changes occurring. And then what becomes really important is that we're creatures of habit. So the habits are going to rule whether the habits are good or bad. 95% of what we think, say, and do just comes naturally to us. We only possess about 5% discipline and willpower, which makes it really tough to make changes. That's why when we started this, you said it's hard to make change.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is part of the reason that it's hard to do. Halfway through the class, I asked you, should you change everything at one time? No. Why? Because you only have 5% discipline. So where we started, change is hard. In the middle, we said don't change everything. This is really why there's science behind that. Pick those one or two things that you know, if you put some discipline into those, and you get those things to change, it's going to make a significant difference in your life. And then, when you do it over and over and over again, what does it become?
I have it.
A habit. And now, you can change something else. So what you want to do is change something, have it become a habit. Then change something else, then change something else. Don't try to remodel your entire life from A to Z all at one time. You're going to get frustrated, and you're going to feel like you failed. No one is going to be successful at doing that, so you're not a failure. You've just taken on too much and tried to defy science. Don't try to defy science, try to work with it. So the idea here is pick a few things, use your discipline and willpower, and what you want to do is create new habits that serve your mission, that serve the right stories in your life, and you want to push out the bad habits little by little so that when you look at your habits, maybe right now 25% of your habits are good and 75% of them are bad. If a year from now 30% of your habits are good, that's an improvement. You're actually going to see better outcomes. You're going to feel better. There's going to be something coming from that. And then it's going to give you that encouragement so that 40% of your habits can be good and 50% of your habits. And it's a journey. It's a journey. And as long as you are constantly making yourself a better version of yourself, you're going to feel fulfilled and you're going to feel good. So question, and what, the last thing I'm gonna ask you to do is just to write down those few things. You identified who and what was most important to you and your purpose. You identified some areas that were off track. What are those one or two areas that you are going to focus on so that you can create new habits for yourself and get closer to being that person that you want to be?
Is this what you would write down for something?